So it's been a couple of weeks since the season 2 trailer dropped. Actually, it's been a minute since the new trailers dropped too, and I still haven't sat down to analyze it yet. Anyway, I wasn't going to say anything about it since it's just promotional material, but I've seen a couple of people try to dissect it. And as usual, seeing somebody do a bad job of analyzing something makes me want to do a good job of analyzing it, so here we are. The first thing we need to understand about how trailers are cut is that they're designed to be intriguing, not to tell a story. As a result, things get put together that look cool, but they don't actually go together to tell a story. However, our brains aren't good at parsing information like that. We want to put the pieces together in the context of each other, so we force what we're seeing into conversation with itself. For example, we see Charlie look up in one shot. It's reasonable, if we're watching a show or a movie, to assume that what we're about to see is what she's looking at. However, we're not watching a show or a movie. The thing we see next could be anything, not necessarily what happens to be in Charlie's line of sight. So, keeping this inclination in mind, I'm going to be slowing down and really working against this impulse to make it make sense within its own context, thereby doing my very best to get actual information from it while avoiding misreading anything. So, literally going shot by shot, we have a distance shot of the Hazbin, new and improved. Normally, this would be called an establishing shot to show us where the next scene is taking place. But this is a trailer, so we cannot count on it meaning anything. Next, we get a close-up of Charlie and Vaggie. Charlie looks up at something, and again, normally this would mean that the next thing we see is going to be what Charlie is looking at, but we can't count on that being the case. Next, we see the clock tower that counts down to Extermination Day. Based on the kind of blast we're seeing, it's an angel who destroys it, or at least someone with angelic weaponry, but they do it from off screen, so we don't know who it was. This is actually a trend in this trailer. There are a lot of action shots where someone's fighting, but we don't know who they're fighting or why. We get nice shots like this, and we're going to go a little bit out of order here of Alistair, Velvet, Cherry Bomb, Serpentious, and Nifty. Next, the V's are in their boardroom, but we don't know what they're discussing. Then we get a shot of Lucifer having some kind of badass moment when the scene switches. Charlie looks like she's been looking at him, but she could have been looking at anything. Vox holds Angel Dust's eyes open. We don't know what he's forcing him to watch. Next, we see Vox reflected in Alistair's eye. I've seen some people claim that this has something to do with the angel dust thing, but we don't know if it's connected. But we can guess that it's related to Vox discussing resistance in front of a crowd. The only reason I can make this claim is because he's got similar supports holding him up, not because of any proximity between the two clips. An angel with 2 wings crashes into the Heaven Embassy. The next thing we see is Lute's back, but we cannot prove that she's the one who crashed into the Heaven Embassy. Angel Dust jumps towards a train track where Husk is tied. I originally wrote Angel Dust saves Husk, but we don't have enough information to even determine that. Serpentious's clip is actually the most intriguing part of the trailer, at least visually. Serpentious double-died and went to heaven in the last season. Why is he back? Why is he dressed like this? Is this a flashback or a dream? Vox looks self-satisfied. This doesn't really say anything other than at some point he'll be glad something went well. Finally, something tells me this clip isn't going to be in the show, but it's obviously unrelated to anything that came before it. Maybe Charlie goes on the news and it goes poorly? It's hard to say. As far as teaser trailers go, there sure is a lot to make you think, wow, can't wait to see that happen. But in terms of what's actually going on, I'm at a loss. And I don't think anybody knows more based on this trailer if they're being 100% honest. It looks awesome, but I'm actually more interested in what Vox is saying, so let's get into it. Last year, when I made my Rhetoric of Charlie Morningstar series, I really emphasized that this is a show about communication and being a good public speaker. Throughout the series, Charlie faces a variety of hostile audiences such as Adam, Valentino, the sinners who don't take her seriously, the news program that disrespects her and undermines her, her father who has trauma related to the angels who oversee the extermination, the population of heaven who are tacitly complicit, and the cannibals who just really don't get what she's doing and where she's coming from. At every challenge, Charlie has to grow as a speaker and learn new skills. This includes things like knowing her audience, tailoring her message, and even having allies to do the speaking for her when her presence isn't well received. Charlie came a long way, and Vox's speech presents the next big hurdle. In season 1, Charlie often addressed a hostile audience. She did not, however, have someone else concocting his own media narrative that's in direct competition with hers. Vox declares war on heaven at the worst possible time, and this causes problems for Charlie.
War is coming.
First, it draws sinners away from her mission.
You're either with me, or against me.
Why work on yourself and improve yourself to get to heaven when you could just go to war? That takes a lot less introspection and change.
So be ready for some breaking news.
Second, I'm not sure of exactly what the diplomatic relations between heaven and hell are like, but they can't be improved by Vox doing the exact thing the exterminations had been implemented to prevent. It makes Charlie look like she doesn't have a handle on things, and let's be real, she probably doesn't, and like she's not a viable person with whom to have diplomatic relations. Potentially. Now, I've got one more theory that was workshopped in the comments section, so I'd like to thank Nico Pink and Mr. 2G for playing in the space. Basically, at the end of season 1, Lute asked Lilith to find a way to stop Charlie. The next thing we see in the teaser trailer is Vox doing just that, causing a disruption at home and in their diplomacy. So, what's the chance Lilith is behind it? That way, she can maintain her relationships with Lucifer and Charlie, but I have no real proof for that. It's just idle speculation. That would be cool if it were true. One character I didn't see in the trailer, but with whom I really hope we get more time, is Emily. She's kind of my favorite character in a lot of ways, and she's in a unique position compared to a lot of the other characters. Another sizable theme of Hazbin Hotel is mentorship. Charlie starts the show without a lot of guidance, no strong family ties, and a creepy, dangerous weirdo who barged his way into her business. And she ends with Lucifer, Rosie, and Alistair, the same creepy, dangerous weirdo, but helping her now. As real mentors willing to help her develop herself and fulfill her goals. Vaggie pairs off with Carmilla and Angel Dust with Husk. Emily goes in the opposite direction. She starts off with a mentor, but that mentor betrayed her trust and made immoral decisions that lost her Emily's respect, in whole or in part. We don't know how close they are anymore. They were in a room together at the end of the last season, but we don't know what their interpersonal or working relationship is like. And I want to know more about what happens to Emily now that she's beginning to doubt, now that she's lost her mentor, and if, to borrow an ex-Mormon term, if her shelf breaks, what happens to her then? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the trailer. I can't wait to chat about it and then see what we get with the new season. Let me know too what you're looking forward to the most, and if you'd like to see a breakdown of the longer trailer, which I can do if people are jazzed enough for something like that. See you on the flip side.